Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Pariah Pickups. What you want, what you need, what you love. Visit pariahpickups.com and at Pariah Pickups on Instagram. And loudtracks.com. Visit loudtracks.com to get your favorite band merchandise and purchase a Jeremy White Podcast t-shirt to support the channel.
Hey, this is Dexter from the Offspring, and you're checking out The Jeremy White Show.
The Jeremy White Podcast, Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, our next guest, the new CD is called Let the Bad Times Roll. It came out on Friday, April 16th via Concord Records, and the music video for the title track already has 1.3 million views on YouTube. I mean, come on, the video's epic. You can pick it up wherever music is sold. Welcome, Dexter Holland from The Offspring.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's going on? So, I just want to say, first of all, listening to this record, it is just straight up, straightforward The Offspring. It is so good. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is, you know, this is like the third or fourth collaboration between you and Canadian producer Bob Rock, who, you know, had background with DOA, working with punk, but, you know, he was more doing the Bon Jovis and the Motley Crues and, you know, Metallica's. What was it about Bob Rock that made The Offspring want to go that route in production-wise?
Well, a couple things. I mean, he is
Bob Rock.
Well known. Yeah, right. Well known for the metal stuff back in the day, but he really did cut his teeth back in Vancouver in the punk days. And he was there when bands like DOA and the Subhumans were coming up, and he was the guy recording them because he was doing the engineering side as well. So when we met with him, it was like, okay, this guy understands what it's like to try to put together a punk album. So that was great. And then beyond that, like you said, he's Bob Rock. He's a great producer, and he knows how to make stuff sound great. And he knows how to get the best out of the bands, the best performances.
Right. Do you think that did he like elevate your performance?
He does, you know, in a very nice way, in a Canadian way, right?
Could you please change this?
Yeah, he was like polite.
He was
Let me ask you this just real quick, speaking of Bob, because when you look at what he did with Metallica and Saint Anger, he got involved, he played bass, he does other stuff. Does he do that with The Offspring, where he comes in and offers to play a part or you know, arranges something and say, okay, you should try it this way, and then you know, how does he work with you?
Yeah, no, he doesn't do it like that at all. If he's sensing that we're struggling getting a part right or playing something right, you know, he'll say, not, this is what I think we should do. He'll say, well, what would The Offspring do here? Which is, it sounds like such a funny question. It catches you off guard.
Right.
It really makes you think outside yourself for a minute and reapproach it in a different way.
Were you guys in the studio together recording this record, or because like pandemic, like was this done before the pandemic happened, or was this a product of it?
Most of it was done in the last couple of years, and we were almost done right before the pandemic hit. In fact, we were scheduled to put it out right at the beginning, and we decided to take a step back and kind of just look at the songs again. So most of it recorded in person. Some of the final remixing was done via Zoom, but mostly in person.
Nice. So you guys recording in like Vancouver together, or did you do it in the States? Or
we did it mostly here. This is our band studio in Huntington Beach. Nice. And so we did, yeah, most of it was done here, and some of the mixing we did up in Vancouver.
Okay. Let me ask you this. In 2014, I got to see you at Heavy Montreal doing the anniversary tour for Smash. And it was a great show, great everything. What compels you to make new music at this point? Because essentially you could go do Smash tour forever and always, or you could play the 15 greatest hits forever and always, and fans would show up because the music has been that good, has been that inspirational, has gotten into people's hearts that much. So why do you say, okay, let's sit down and make 10 new tunes, 12 new tunes? Basically, why bother?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I think that's something that people really wonder. They think like, well, he's got it made. What does he want to try anymore? But to say the truth, I mean, as much as I love the shows and I love playing songs that people know, and like there's a real energy and excitement and, you know, the mutual sharing of these songs. But if we never put any new records, I would feel like I was just punching the clock. It wouldn't feel like, it's just like, yeah, let's just go out and play the same songs for the rest of our lives. That would be about.
But it's a clock with a big cash register, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. when you think of rock stars, you don't think of guys having PhDs. Why did you continue to pursue your studies and not just say, hey, I'm in Huntington Beach, I got this great studio playing heavy Montreal, I don't need school?
Yeah, I was halfway finished with the PhD when the band took off. So
Right.
kind of in my head, I always wanted to finish it. But it had been a long time, and I kind of felt that window was probably closing of my opportunity to go back to school. And so I decided to do it just in between these last two records. And I'm glad I did. I felt like it was something like, it's research. It's research that, hopefully all gets lopped onto the pile of scientific knowledge that maybe will help something down the line.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Now, having that type of education, does it affect your songwriting in any way?
Oh, I don't know. People have asked that before. It's kind of a right brain, left brain thing, but it's almost like after the science part, it's almost like it somehow turns on your creative side. They do work together somehow. They go off each other.
Yeah, because even lyrically and stuff, it's like, I would think your vocabulary is a lot further advanced than the average Joe Schmo who's just writing some poetry and some punk songs.
I guess so. And thank God for online thesauruses, right?
Right.
Oh, do you use online thesaurus? That's hilarious.
I have before. I think there's something mathematical about music. It's a verse and a chorus and the way the notes go and stuff. So I can see why people sometimes think there's a correlation between people that like music and people that are into math or science.
Right, but you're not sitting there, pulling the Max Martin route where it's like, okay, we need to have X amount of syllables for a verse and we got to have a pre-chorus.
They're not doing haikus, my friend.
No.
Let me ask you this. The first album comes out in 1989, and that time is dominated by big ballads. It's dominated by Motley Crue. It's dominated by Metallica and Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and all these great bands. You guys come out and it's very stripped down, and it's sort of the antithesis of that scene at that time. Was that something that concerned you, that, oh my God, we're not going to be able to break in? Or was it, you know what, I don't want to wear spandex, we're going to go? Talk to me a little bit about that scene, setting up and being in that milieu at that time.
It was for sure the second one for all of us at the time. I just the metal thing didn't resonate with us at all back then. We were into the Sex Pistols and the Dead Kennedys and stuff, and I hated all that stuff back then. I think Metallica was always different for us, for sure, because they were pretty hard, for back then, for sure. And as time goes on, I appreciate all that stuff now, for sure, but it wasn't what drove us as kids.
Right. And now that you've had a lot of success, and you talk about the Dead Kennedys, these weren't bands that wrote singles, and the Offspring writes singles. So have you talk to me about that and about the importance of having a radio friendly kind of sound.
Right. Well, we loved punk rock growing up, and we loved it because of the aggression, and you feel like you're able to get out this frustration. There's an energy to it that was just different from anything that we had heard before. But there weren't really a lot of great songs. And I always felt like, well, maybe that's something we can do that's different from some of these other bands, is try to actually take the energy of punk rock and build songs around it. So that was always important to us.
Yeah, but there was a lot of bands that were kind of doing up-tempo, punky-ish kind of tunes. You listen to bands like Faster Pussycat and even like LA Guns and even Rat to a certain extent. It's like, some of those hair bands had a bit of that edge to them. Were you listening to any of those bands at the time?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Faster Pussycat and the Motley Crue had a couple faster songs or whatever.
Yeah, there's a little Livewire that's total punk rock.
Livewire, right? There was some story. I think it's Lars who said that, and this intuitively, but a punk fast song is different than a metal fast song. And I think like the punk hits on the snare and the metal hits on the kick. I don't know. It's the one, and there's something different about it. I can't quite put my But
well, if you listen to We Are 138 from the Misfits, it's got that build to it, and then it just kicks right in. So
yeah, right.
That's the way to do it. Talk to me about the challenges of putting out an album in this current context, because normally you put out an album, you book a world tour, and off you go, and you make a whole bunch of videos. Is that something that you can still do right now, or do you sort of have to just go play Texas and Florida and then say, hey, everybody else, go buy our album. Good luck.
That's right. Texas, Florida. That's it.
And Wisconsin now.
It's a strange time. I mean, it's obviously a very digital time to begin with, right? And you throw a pandemic on top of it, and even more so. We debated whether to put the record out at all right now, because we can't go out the way we want to support the album and to be able to play these songs for fans that would like to see it that way. But we've been sitting on this for a year, and we thought we don't want to wait another year. We're gonna put it out, and we might have to be a little more creative by let's put out some more digital content for the time being until we can get out there.
Yeah. Talk to me also about vocally, because when you look back, at least to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but the first albums, there seemed to be sort of more piss and vinegar in your voice, and you've seemed to have, to me, smoothed it out and gotten more into a melodic range. Was that a conscious decision, or is that just age sort of changing how you sing? And maybe I'm wrong. I think you're more melodic now.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I haven't thought of it in terms of melodicness. I've had a lot of people say that they feel like the vocal sounds the same, actually, and hasn't changed. So I don't know. Whatever your interpretation is, I guess. Well,
listen, I liked all those melodic bands back then, and now I like the Offsprings, and my ears seem to enjoy the the vocals. So who knows?
Well, thank you. Yeah.
He's trying to compliment you, Dexter.
I am. It's a roundabout compliment, but yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, melody's always been important for sure in our band. And you were talking about some of the other bands early on, and that's true that Bad Religion was being kind of melodic with their descendants to a certain degree, and those bands came before us, but we were kind of trying to go that route, and the vocal was a big part of it. And backups are a big part of it. I mean, we definitely weren't afraid of the vocal, a loud vocal.
Right. And I mean, you listen to this new record, it's like, I was listening to the record in its entirety over the weekend, and the song, We Don't Have Sex Anymore. I love the fact that was like, that's the latest single now, because like, this is such a single song, How does a song like that come about? Like, does it start with a guitar riff, or, even you got like the horn section going and stuff? Like, how does a song like that begin for you?
Yeah, that was the line. The line is definitely the beginning of the song. We were joking around, and this is like back in, I don't know, my 20s or whatever. And just thinking, haha, that's funny, because I think at any age you can feel like, oh no, the romance is gone. I've been going out with my girlfriend for 2 weeks, and we didn't do it on Thursday. It's over. So
it's getting boring.
Yeah, it felt like not a Viagra song. It felt like a universal kind of feeling that I think people at any age can relate to. But I just didn't know what musical context to put it in for a while, and that's why we kind of just sat on it for a long time. And finally, the swing thing sounded like it would be a funny way to do it, because I think that the verse by itself, the lyric could sound depressing, right? But
yeah,
fun music behind it. It allows you to kind of maybe relate to it, but still laugh.
Yeah, I mean, it's an upbeat, euphoric rock pop song, and I mean, you look at that title, like you said, it could have been a ballad.
It could have been.
Well, it's a great album. The album, of course, comes 9 years after the last one. Talk to me about two things real quick. The feeling of finally getting it out and saying, okay, we finally have new music. How does that feel? And also, what are the plans moving forward? Do you see yourself where you say, you know what, we got to get back to 2 years, 3 years, and not this 9 year stuff? Talk to me about the elation of getting it out finally, and also moving forward. What's sort of the plan?
Yeah, it's exciting putting it out for sure. And it has been a while. And we realize that, the longer it goes, the more expectation there might be on it.
Right.
But
like Chinese democracy, 14 years. You beat them.
Yeah, it's natural to feel that way, but I think it doesn't serve you to put yourself in that mindset. You got to do what feels right to you. And that's maybe a little bit of the challenge. So, well, maybe there's a little bit of anxiousness putting it out, wondering what the response is going to be. It's mostly just excitement. We didn't mean for it to take 9 years, but it's just kind of where the songs ended up. Sometimes, it's done when it's done. And this record, it felt like it was the right time for these songs on this record with this title, Let the Bad Times Roll. This feels right. And that's why we're putting it out now. In the future, yeah, I mean, geez, 9 years from now, we might be dead. But
yeah,
never know.
You never know.
That's right.
No, but when you think about it real quick, a lot of the bands we've already mentioned in 9 years probably won't be touring, or Metallica, Alice Cooper, Scorpions, they're probably down to the 5-year plan. So
I know. We've even talked about how I wonder if some bands won't make it out of this. They're gone for a couple of years. They're like, you know what? I don't really need to tour anymore. Maybe it's actually good. We're going to be done. So I hope that doesn't happen.
It's going to happen.
But I think we ended up recording some extra material for this record that we didn't use. We've got sort of a head start on the next one. So
good.
Sooner.
That's good. Okay, so you are planning ahead then.
Or Japanese bonus track, one of the two.
Yeah, that's right.
You always got to have the Japanese bonus tracks. Well, this album's 12 songs, comes out on April 16th, available wherever music is sold. You're doing the CDs, you're doing the vinyl, you're doing all that stuff. There's one song that really stood out to me on this album before we go, because we're running out of time. The Opioid Diaries. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about that song, because, lyrically and everything, it's really deep.
Oh, well, thank you. It's about, the opioid crisis in the U.S., which frankly is worse than in other countries. We've learned to find out by just kind of going through this process of talking to people. Mm-hmm. But, writing a song about addiction is nothing new, but I thought there was something unique about this. And what I mean is that I feel like we've almost created what I would call accidental addicts, and by the prescription of opioids. These people, they're not the typical people that are searching out things recreationally or trying to cope in different ways that become addicted. They're kind of normal people, like a high school athlete or a blue collar guy that's got lower back pain, and he gets prescribed something for pain thinking that it's not addictive when it clearly is. And they become addicted to these opiates. And then, eventually sometimes they can't get them anymore. And then all of a sudden they're on heroin. So you have these heroin addicts that would have never been on this in a million years if it hadn't been prescribed to them unknowingly. So it's absolutely the fault of the pharmaceutical industry, and we felt like it needed to be discussed and called out.
Yeah, great. And I've never really thought of the Offspring as a political band. Like, I always thought you guys were more like a social commentary group in a way. And a song like that, it's a perfect example.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't consider us a political band, because I think, look, we try to observe what's going on, but I never want to tell someone how they should think, right? We'll just kind of lay out the things and let them come to their own conclusions.
Yeah. And the thing about, like you said, it could be just the average Joe Schmo that kind of gets addicted. Somebody goes for surgery on their back or something, and then they're popping Dilaudid laying in bed. All of a sudden, you're not doing it anymore. It's like, oh, I need it.
You need it. It's awful.
Yeah.
Well, what we need is music. That's all we need. That's my drug.
There you go. That's a great song title. All right, Dexter, this is great. Well, Let the Bad Times Roll, out April 16th, available wherever music is sold. You hit them up on socials. They're one of the best bands that do the social media game these days, too. So,
yep. And it bookends. You had the Cars, Let the Good Times Roll, and now you have the Offspring, Let the Bad Times Roll, and all the music in between.
There you go.
Yeah. You've said it all. Anything else you want to get out there?
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks. It's great talking to you guys, and really looking forward to having people hear the whole record.
Cool. Hey, real quick, what's going on with the hot sauce? Are we going to get a new line at some point, or?
We came out with a fourth flavor, a yellow, last year. You can get it all on Amazon. That's the best way to get it probably right now, depending on what city you live in.
Nice. Okay, so you do it on Amazon. Now, do you make more money through Amazon or through your own website?
Well, I mean, we sell in grocery stores. We're in like a few thousand grocery stores.
With the mass produced, yeah, because up in here I can't go to IGA and get it. Like, I'd have to go to like Publix or something.
Right. Ralph's. You got to go to a Ralph's. That's the best grocery store ever. Anyway,
yeah. Did you like my Publix reference? Publix. Get it?
I get it. Yeah. I tell you what, since the pandemic, Amazon has tripled. Everyone's ordering online. It's just crazy. I'm selling a ton of hot sauce online.
Nice.
Perfect. Well, good.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Best of luck with the record, and we'll see you next time you're up here in Montreal.
Thank you very much. Great talking with you.
Cheers.
See you later.